why don't introduce yourself and why we're here today?
Hi, my name is Ola, and we are here today to cook actually and to have fun. And I would like to show it to you that it's very easy to make simple, healthy, and creative meals at home, and pretty much anyone can do this. So today we'll be making a recipe from North Africa, from Morocco. It's called a Moroccan veal stew, and it requires very basic ingredients. Veal being the most essential of the ingredients, and then a number of different vegetables. We have a carrot, we have an onion, celery, and another interesting ingredient is prunes. And the point is to purchase prunes that have pits in them, and I will tell you later why that's important. But this will lend a very subtle yet interesting flavor to the stew. It will give it a little bit of sourness. And along with that, we're gonna use a number of different spices to lighten up this simple dish. So the first thing is on top of these ingredients, we need very simple tools. We need a grater to grate our carrot. Those of you who have a food processor can use that, but it's too much hassle to break that out right now. We will need also a Dutch oven or some kind of a heavy bottom pot where we will saute this our dish. And so here we go. So the first and very basic thing to do is to chop up the vegetables and saute them. And the vegetables are onion, which we're going to rough chop right now. We first need to peel it. And into the pan, this will, or rather into the pot, this will go. But before we can start that, we will have to take our pot, and on the medium flame, we will have to add some olive oil. And this is basic extra virgin olive oil, but you know, it doesn't have to be cold pressed or anything. And I would use about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Once the oil will heat up, we will add our onions to the pot to saute. And we want to get the onions nice and golden, and from there on we will layer on different ingredients. So while the oil is heating up, we can in the meantime grate the carrot. And as I mentioned to you before, you can use either a grater. Actually, if you're in a pinch or there's you want to save even more time, you can purchase pre-grated carrots already in the market. They are more expensive, but they save you just a few minutes of the time that it takes you to grate them. Off and off the whole carrot goes, and it goes. I prefer grating carrots myself because that you ensure that they're fresh, and any time you have control over freshness of your ingredients, it will always improve on the final product. So just keep that in mind. Now that we've grated the carrot, we can add the onions into the pot. And just give it a stir to
So,
evenly.
my question: how long it take you to prepare this?
The whole dish should take you about an hour, along with the prep time, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. You can save on some of the prep work by purchasing. They sell in stores. They sell pre-cut onions, pre-cut celery, pre-cut carrots, and so all it is just basically throwing the ingredients into the pot. But the pure cooking time takes about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So while the onions are sauteing, and we don't need this anymore, we can just set it down. We can work on celery, and it has been washed. We will discard the stems and the leaves. And just cut this into long strips, which then I dice. And it doesn't have to be a perfect chop, because once you saute all the veggies, they will soften up, and more or less they won't disintegrate, but they will become more puree-like. So there is no need to worry about chopping these vegetables in a very precise manner, like you would for a salad.
Okay.
So. And I guess in terms of proportions, we took a medium-sized carrot, we took a medium-sized onion, 2 stalks of celery. We have about a pound, just ever so slightly over a pound of the meat of veal, and we have about 7 prunes here. We're gonna need a few stalks of thyme, a couple of cloves of garlic, and just other spices that I will mention in a minute. So we can lower the heat a little bit, and as the onions start getting a little golden, I don't know, maybe you can come with the camera here to see what's going on inside the pot. We can start adding other ingredients. So carrot goes in, and it will start browning a little bit, and you can smell the ingredients already.
Oh yeah, I'm smelling. I'm already like it. I feel I'm hungry.
We'll be eating soon.
Not yet, right? Not yet finished.
So, not yet. Yes, we will be eating once we're finished.
Okay.
We are just stirring this so that it doesn't start burning. And in another minute or so, we can add celery. Once celery goes in, we can again give it a good stir so that everything incorporates, and actually put the lid on and let it saute for about 5 minutes. In the meantime, we can prep the meat, and it's just there's nothing to it. Just give it a good wash. I purchased veal that was already pre-cut for the stew. You can also buy whole pieces of veal and cut them yourself, which also works, and based on how you want this to be or not, and that's up to you. So we wash the meat, and soon it will go back into the pot. So, as I mentioned to you before, this is a North African recipe, and specifically comes from Morocco. And what makes this very particular, what makes North African recipes, stand out is the spices that they use. And so their food is not necessarily spicy hot, but it's flavorful and it's pungent with the spices that they use. And so a couple of spices that we are going to use in this recipe is cumin, and another interesting spice is turmeric. It's a great, actually, and very healthy ingredient, and right now the scientists believe it's a great antioxidant, and it gives a very subtle kind of curry flavor, but also it gives this interesting orange coloring to the foods that you cook this with. On top of that, we will use just regular black pepper, freshly ground, salt. We have thyme, fresh thyme, so I will use a few stalks of thyme, and which we will be adding to the recipe as well. And so in a few minutes we will add the meat. So we can check out right now on our vegetables as they're sauteing, and they're doing well. I will mention the fact that when we are working with turmeric, an interesting way to use it is, or rather, it's the right way to use this, is to take a small cup of filled with water, with boiling water preferably. So I have a little cup here, and we will turn our tea kettle on to let our water get to boiling point. And once it's ready, we will put some of this turmeric into boiling water, and this way it will dissolve into this orange-like liquid that we will later add to the pot. So I use about a tablespoon and a half of this spice, and so we're waiting for the water to come up to the right, to the boiling point, and also for the vegetables to saute. So this is, as I mentioned again, this comes from North Africa. There are a lot of interesting recipes that are easy to make, and that don't require a lot of special ingredients. And so anyone can do this, and it's a fun way to also experiment in the kitchen, especially if you don't have a chance to travel and you know, explore the world. Cooking recipes from around the world is a great way to come as close to different cultures, and so this is a fun way to do this. All right, so now that our vegetables are getting softer and sauteing, I think actually we could use a splash of olive oil, another splash of olive oil, to give it a little, just a tiny bit of moisture. And so you could see that some of the pieces are starting to brown, especially the onions. And so another few minutes and the meat will be ready to go in. What we can do in the meantime, we can take a few cloves of garlic, which we will be adding towards the end, and we can peel that. And a good tip to mention is that when you cook with garlic, you never add it in the beginning of your cooking recipe, because garlic tends to burn easily, and so if you add garlic at the beginning, by the time you're ready to serve this, the pieces of garlic will turn into burned charcoals. But if you add the garlic towards the end of the cooking process, it will lend a good flavor, but it will still remain appetizing. And so we can. And now we'll peel the onion, the garlic cloves. And what I like to do next is to smash these cloves. Another, I guess, a little tip to add is that garlic can be very pungent and flavorful, or it can be subtle, and you can control that based on the size. How, if you chop the garlic very finely and add that to the recipe, your recipe will take on a lot of flavors of garlic. If you, let's say, cut the garlic into two pieces and add it to the pot, it will have your dish will end up having a very subtle flavor to garlic. So not everyone is a fan of garlic. I personally love it, but that's not something that everyone enjoys. So now that our water is ready, we just add some of that to the rim and give it a stir. And I will show you in a second how it turns this beautiful orange color. And so the dish will take on this color. Another point I wanted to make is when you're purchasing prunes are great, and they also have a lot of benefits. But it's important when you are cooking with prunes to purchase prunes that have pits inside them. And the reason is that these are still whole prunes, and therefore when you introduce them into the water, they will plumb up, and literally, and will turn back into plums, more or less. Whereas those that have where the pits have been removed, they will disintegrate and turn very mushy. So I think our vegetables are ready. They've been sauteing for about 7 minutes. And now we can add our meat. And so the first step is to add the meat into the pot and to saute that for a few minutes so the meat browns slightly, and there's this crispy coat. Adding water right away will just boil the meat, and while it's some recipes may call for that type of treatment, but this is not what we want. We want to make a stew. This is like a nice stew where the meat has been browning, and it will be very delicious at the end, where you know, the sort of the juices of the vegetables along with the sort of sauteing of the meat will caramelize and melt together. So while meat is stewing, what I will do is I will take a bigger knife and I will just smash my garlic. Just give it a...
Now time garlic.
Yes. So we'll just give it a whack. Bam. And so off it will go. Alright, so the meat has been browning for maybe 10 minutes, and now we can introduce other ingredients to the pot. So we will add our prunes, and as I mentioned again, these have pits in them. We also will add our garlic, our smashed garlic. I have about 3-4 stalks of thyme that we're going to take off the stems. And the easiest way to do this is just to, with your fingers, to work against the growth, and they will just slip right off very easily. Just give it a very rough chop. And that goes also into the pot. In goes the turmeric, and it turned into this paste, and so we will add some in. And we can add water now, and we add enough water for to submerge all the meat. And so you can see how it's turned this beautiful color. So
it's amazing.
We can also continue layering our ingredients, our spices, and just a pinch of salt, a pinch of cumin. That's another Middle Eastern spice. And spices is a great way of adding flavor to a dish without adding a lot of bulk or calories, you know, so spices are a great addition. And we will also grate some black pepper. And I love freshly ground black pepper. and you would be surprised if you prepare a dish, a salad, let's say, identical salad, and one of them will use the pre-ground pepper, and another dish will have the freshly ground pepper, and there's a world of difference between how these two will taste, and that's because of the freshness of the black pepper. So my advice to you is to always stock your kitchen with peppercorns and a pepper grater that you can always use in your cooking. And so now that everything has really been added, so the next thing is to take the flame down to more or less medium to low flame, and to cover that with a lid and let it saute for about 20 minutes. Alright, so our stew has been sauteing, and the sauce has thickened up, and the veggies have like mellowed out, and you can see that this is what the prunes look like now. It looks again like more or less like a plum. So, and this is to getting back to the point of getting the prunes that still have pits in them. So this is basically finished. We can take it off the flame, and you can serve it with anything you want. You can serve it with couscous, with rice, with a salad, or it can just stand on its own. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and you make it at home yourself.